All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about Lamar Jackson to the Raiders. You see it on the screen here. Team source: the Las Vegas Raiders haven't eliminated any QB options, including Lamar Jackson. Now, I've talked about this quite a bit. I like that the Raiders right now, because they have the seventh pick, this is a quarterback heavy draft. I like that they're pretty much open to just about anything. That's at least, even if they have a plan, that's at least what you want to give off to other teams, other GMs. You want to keep your cards folded, right? You want or just close to your chest, not folded, close to your chest. All right. Now, I like the saying, it's better to gamble on the devil you know than the devil you don't. And when we take a look at this Raiders team right now, well, their offense is completely and utterly stacked. You have the best wide receiver in the NFL in Devontae Adams. You had last year's best running back in the NFL, Josh Jacobs. You have an elite tight end when he is healthy in Darren Waller. You have nice complementary wide receivers in the slot, Mr. Hunter Renfro. You have a rising and improving offensive line. They were ranked 11th last year, according to PFF. I know there's a lot of holes on this team, but here's the bottom line. If the Raiders were to want either, if they want Bryce Young, if they want CJ Stroud, they're going to have to trade up. All right. So you're going to have to give up some assets there. If you don't, well, they could always re-sign Jarrett Stidham. They probably will regardless. You could go out there, you could get Jimmy G, sign him to a maybe $10 million a year contract. Go out there, get Jacoby Brissett, and be totally fine with having one of those kind of bridge starters and having a young rookie quarterback in Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. I'm pretty high on both of them. I would take both of them. But sometimes when the opportunity presents itself for you to take that leap, sometimes you got to do it. Now, there are some things with Lamar going to the Raiders. First off, does Mark Davis have the money to pay Lamar Jackson? The whole issue, the whole reason that he just got franchise tagged is because Baltimore's looking at themselves and thinking, guaranteed money to a 26-year-old quarterback who's had injury concerns, he's had injury problems. I don't know if we want to do that. Well, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And I think a move like this would immediately put the Raiders back into Super Bowl contention, just like they were when they started the season last year. Now, before we get any further into this video, if you guys do enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and be sure to let me know what you're thinking down below. Now, when we take a look at Lamar Jackson this past season, he, first off, in general, he's a winning quarterback. He's a proven winner, 45-16 on Baltimore. And even if you go back 4 years ago to his MVP season where he had over 1,000 rushing yards for a quarterback, he had 36 total passing touchdowns, just 6 interceptions. He ended up winning an MVP. In his second year, his first year as a full-time starter, he won an MVP. All right. You pair him with that Raiders offense. But even if we go back to that season, we take a look at who did Baltimore have on their team. Well, Baltimore, they're known for having a good defense, which the Raiders currently don't have. So you'd be able to draft defense at number 7. You'd be able to spend most of your draft picks on your defense. We'll talk about what you have to give up for Lamar in just a second. But their leading receiver that year was Mark Andrews. It was Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is great. He only had about 850 total receiving yards, and they still went 13-2. Even this past year, when he led Baltimore to an 8-4 record before he got injured, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, wasn't anything crazy. His completion percentage was just 62.3, just a couple ticks below his career average. Well, not only was he winning, but they had the third worst receiving core in the National Football League. Like, they just never surrounded Lamar with the proper threats that they needed him to, that they needed to give him. Well, the Raiders are different because they have plenty of threats. And you look at the division they're in, the AFC West, the AFC in general, you got to go up against Patrick Mahomes 2 times a year. You got to go up against Russell Wilson twice a year, Justin Herbert twice a year, Joe Burrow possibly. Like, there's a lot of threats in the AFC. And with their current offense, I don't see why you would want to start at least, we're looking at least a 3-year retool, more of a rebuild situation if they were to draft a young quarterback. Now, the assets and the money, just even if we'll forget about the money because When you can get a guy, you can get a former MVP who's entering his prime. He's not even in his prime. He's entering his prime. It just turned 26 actually 2 months ago in January. You make it work. You find ways to make it work. It's going to want $230 million guaranteed money, so keep that in mind. And you're going to have to give up two high value draft picks to acquire him. So that's the big thing is, if the Raiders were actually interested in acquiring Lamar, are they going to be open to giving him that guaranteed contract? Are they going to be open to giving up more draft capital coming off an offseason where you just gave up draft capital, good draft capital to the Green Bay Packers in return for Devontae Adams? Well, it's like different timelines. It's like this offense, even with Derek Carr, a slightly above average quarterback, they finish 11th in total offense. As bad of a season as it was, I mean, they couldn't even get midfield against the New Orleans Saints. Like, it was a roller coaster. But you have aging players, and you want to capitalize on their primes. Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow. You just paid all of those guys extensions. Now, Josh Jacobs, that remains to be seen after getting the franchise tag. But this Raiders team, they have cap space. They have money to spend. So if you go out, you make a trade for Lamar, sign him to that contract, well, you have a lot of draft capital, including the 7th pick, which I guess you might have to give up for Lamar. But you can find winning players on defense in free agency and deeper on in the draft. It's not like it's just the first round. You have day one starters, hopefully. And we've seen Dave Ziegler, we've seen the Patriots, the former Patriots regime, we've seen them draft steals in later rounds. So if I had to give a yes or no answer on should the Raiders trade for Lamar, I'm actually leaning towards yes. I'm leaning towards yes. Why not? I love Jarrett Stidham. I think he's an enticing bridge starter. Don't think he's a long-term day one Super Bowl caliber starter. That still remains to be seen. He did a great job against San Francisco. But this team's ready to win, man. Their offense is built to win right now. And the thought of having Mac and Cheese Jones as my starting QB next year, that worries me. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't think any Raiders fan is. Jimmy G's a capable starter. We've seen him go far. He's a proven winner. But, that's not really interesting to me. I would rather not do that. I'd rather either draft a QB, get it over with. It's a young, exciting QB, can change your franchise, hopefully be the face of your franchise for several years to come. Or you can make a big time move and trade for the former MVP and a several-time Pro Bowler, a proven winner. I'm going to go with that option. Let me know what you guys are thinking. As always, hit that like button, hit that sub button, and I'll see you guys later.